What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me already, my name is Brendan North and I am a photographer based in Los Angeles, California. I make my living off of selling my prints to people around the world, and I want to talk to you guys today about how you can do the same thing. So let's get into it. Alright, so getting into it, I know most of you probably know me from the YouTube world, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, you probably haven't seen much of me in a while because I'm not making YouTube videos very frequently anymore. I am 100% dedicating my time to my fine art still images, stuff like this that you see behind me. Some of my older stuff, a new very simple image that I'm coming out with, and if you go to my Instagram, you'll see the bigger production, much more complex, higher production value photos that I've been working on for the last year and a half or so. And I want to talk to you guys today about a new partnership that I'm entering with my friends over at Fine Art America. Fine Art America is an amazing platform that allows you to set up your own online shop for your photography. And it's an incredible way to really just enter into the photography printing world. They allow you to upload any of your images with a push of a button. It's really, really simple. One of the best platforms that I've seen to sell art on. They have thousands and thousands of artists represented on there right now, and you're in good company once you start selling on there. And not only is it insanely easy and streamlined to make your prints available on Fine Art America, but they have some crazy cool products. So you have your more traditional print, which they sent me the other day. They came out beautifully. You have your matte border, your nice frame, but they also make aluminum prints. So this is on a sheet of metal, which makes it extremely glossy, high definition prints. Very fun to print on. Not as traditional, but some people like buying stuff like this. Depending on where you live, depending on the style of your home, your apartment, aluminum prints can be a really cool look for it. And this piece up here, one of my favorites, is a framed canvas. I'll take it down real quick. So, a framed canvas, really, really beautiful. It's got a silver frame. The canvas is super high quality. It gives the photo a really nice texture. And yeah, I love the way they did that. And not only do they do normal prints like this, but they will put your photo on almost anything. The choices on that website are almost unlimited. They have so many products available to print your photos on, and no other site I have ever seen does that. So, an example, a phone case. This is my director's cut phone case right here. Super high quality, really nice feel to it, and they make canvas bags and other wall decor, home decor. All of these products you can put your images on, which I think is really cool, especially for the more casual photographer that just wants to put their photos on something that they think would look cool. So it's a lot of fun, and I really encourage you guys to sort of play around with all of their products. I also want to make it clear that Fine Art America is special in the fact that they have distribution centers around the world. So if you're not in the United States, you can absolutely sell your work on Fine Art America, and you can sell to anywhere in the world. So it's all about accessibility. Fine Art America makes it super easy, and I'm really excited to start printing with them. And what I really want to talk about today is how printing my photos has changed my life and changed my photography for the better. So when you start photography, I think a lot of kids dream about the day that they print a photo and they put it up in a home, maybe even sell one. It's an exciting thought, and unfortunately it's a part of photography that a lot of young photographers never get to do. The process is typically very expensive, and there's a lot that you need to know to do it properly. But again, that's why I'm partnering with Fine Art America. It's because they make it so easy. And I think being able to print your images, even just to get one of your own, it's going to change the way you look at your photos, and it's going to change the way you shoot. So once I started printing my images, I started thinking differently about what it meant to create a photograph. I come from the social media world, so a lot of my images, especially at the beginning of my career, were almost entirely focused on the face. And it was really important whose face it was. Most of you probably found me through one influencer or another, whether it was Logan, Lele, Tuan, Juanpa, any of those people that I got to work with. I wanted to create bigger images, but I didn't really know how to get into that, and I didn't really know what it meant. So once I started printing images and looking at them blown up instead of just on a phone screen, I started sort of materializing these bigger ideas in my head, and that's what I strive for now. If I can't imagine a photo on somebody's wall in a home, an office building, a hotel, a restaurant, if I can't imagine that photo that I'm thinking of in one of those places, then it's not worth shooting to me. And that goes back into one of my favorite ideals about photography, is that a photographer can be defined just as much, if not even more, by the projects he says no to than the projects he says yes to. And by getting into printing, you really slow your process down and you become more deliberate. And I've found that one of my favorite words when talking about photography is the word intent. I think intent is so important to creating a high quality image, one that actually has a voice, an image that means something, an image that might make somebody stop scrolling for 1 second on Instagram and think, maybe reminisce, maybe inspire them in some new way. When you become more deliberate with your photography, then it becomes more and more likely that you create an image that feels like that. And I think that's what's lost in a lot of what modern day photography has become, especially with the rise of TikTok and those TikTok photographers that, they blow glitter in somebody's face and take it with a low aperture lens, and all of a sudden, a bunch of 12-year-olds are screaming their name thinking this is the pinnacle of creativity, this is like the pinnacle of photography. And it's really discouraging for people like me who hold photography as sort of a higher art form. And I want that to be more of a prevalent way of thinking, to think of photography as a higher art form. Because it is. It should be held to the same standards as painters and sculptors. And don't get me wrong, I have so much hope for photography to be held to those standards, but it's been discouraging over the last year or so to see photography sort of be plunged into darkness by so many of these massively popular TikTok photographers. Fast fashion photographers is sort of what they are equivalent to in my mind. They're low quality, they're fast production. It's one day, the next day, the next day, the next day, it's a new image with glitter, or God, who knows what they consider photography anymore. But it's sad because these guys have so much influence over such a young audience base of aspiring photographers, and they're teaching them that these silly little gimmick photos are the pinnacle of creativity, the pinnacle of photography. And I want you guys to slow down. I want you to think. I want you to really dive into the process of photography, and printing is the #1 way to do that. Printing your own images will do exactly that for you. It'll change your process with the way you think about photography. And I think the youngest generation of photographers right now sees photography as a way to get famous. And while that can happen, it's not necessarily the point. You should get into photography because you want to say something, because you want to create images that mean something, that have a voice. You should want to take an image because you feel like there's something to be said inside that photo. Those pixels should each equal a word. So I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to start your photography career in the way that I did, which was going the social media route. And I've also had to spend a lot of time redefining my brand, defining who I am as a photographer in the public eye. Because so many of you know me as the social media photographer, it's taken a lot of effort to sort of get people to understand that this stuff, these fine art prints, are what I stand for now as an artist. Going into the fine art world, you have to have so much more patience. You really have to define the quality of your work. You have to distinguish yourself as an artist, and you have to distance yourself from the people that are creating those fast photos. You have to make sure that your audience, your collectors, your buyers, the people that want to own your work, understand how different you are from those people. And it's a time-consuming process. And I found that the more images I create at a certain level, the easier it gets. And the more I can print, the faster I sell photos. When I get to show off, here's my new print, here's the new house it's going in, this one's getting shipped to Germany, this one's getting shipped to New Zealand. You know, by promoting that, by creating more and staying at a certain level, a certain quality of work, people start to take you more and more seriously in that respect. And it's really an exciting process, and I hope some of you take this video to heart and really dive into that side of photography, because I think it's so much more fulfilling. And if photography is really your passion, I think you'll find a lot of joy in creating in this way. You know, I've actually been contacted more and more recently about shooting for magazines, because these editors of these magazines have seen the jump in quality in my work over the last 2 years. Personally, I believe that I've come a long way from where I was in the social media photography to where I am now. And I think the world is finally starting to take notice of that, and it's a really fulfilling feeling. More and more opportunities are presented as you start to raise your quality, and it's an awesome experience. And seriously, Fine Art America is an amazing resource. I am starting to sell my images today. It's very cool. You can set your own margins. So no matter how much the prints cost to make, you can set your margins as high or as low as you want. You can make them super affordable. You can make them more expensive if you feel that your work is on that level. And it's an awesome world to get into. And I really hope if you guys get into that world, into the fine art world, you let me know. DM me on Instagram. Show me what you're working on. Send me your Fine Art America link. I want to check out your stuff. And yeah, I'm really excited to be starting this partnership and to see where you guys take your photography from here. So if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. I love talking photography. I love talking prints and fine art. And before I go, I will answer one of my most asked questions ever. I try to answer it as many times as possible, just so you guys know where I'm coming from with my work. And that is, what do I shoot my images on? So for the most part, I'm shooting my photos on this Hasselblad medium format film camera. Beautiful piece of, honestly, artisan machinery. Hasselblad is a brilliant company. This camera was made in 1973, and it still does a better job of capturing still images than most digital cameras on the market for a fraction of the price. Of course, the film costs add up, but the camera, not actually that expensive. And my other medium format film camera is my Mamiya 645. Try to get it to focus on here. Hide my face. Mamiya 645, beautiful, beautiful film camera. Medium format film is another thing that has changed my photography. Because you want to talk about slowing your photography down. You think about these digital cameras shooting 11, 13, 15 frames per second. With this, you gotta click it, crank it. You only get one shot at a time. You only get 12 on the Hasselblad, 12 photos per roll. That's it. If you don't get it in 12 photos, you gotta put another roll of film in. And yeah, I think it's an amazing way to go about photography as well. So printing, film photography, two amazing steps that I think a lot of you could take to improve the way you shoot. And again, Fine Art America is linked in the description. You can go check out my page, see what I'm putting up on there, and make your own page. And that is it for the video today, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, work hard, dream big, and trust your direction in life. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
There goes a sight from my soul.